Welcome to r/PettyRevenge. In today's stories, if it's not here by 5, I'm not paying for it. Bully gets a date with my sister and really gets the dump. And of course, Jim Meathead. What is up guys, I do hope you're well, and if you enjoy Reddit stories, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe button, and maybe even that notification bell, as it really keeps our channel pushing forward. And with that being said, let's get started. Our first story is from Sumo Ninja 17. If it's not here by 5, I'm not paying for it. Years ago, I drove a tow truck and we delivered a lot of cars to dealers. One little dealership was notorious for having jerks working there. It was like all the high school bullies got back together and opened a car lot. Got a call on a Friday after lunch from a client asking me to deliver a car to the dealership, and they had to have it before 5 PM, or they didn't have to pay for it. And by pay for it, I mean the car and the tow bill. This would be no problem. The car was a couple of blocks from me and the dealer was about a mile away. I went and hooked the car and headed to the dealer. It was 3:30 PM when I left the office. I get to the dealership and go in to find someone to sign for it. No one would sign. They told me just to park it around the back. Knowing what jerks these guys were, no way was I going to leave it there without being able to prove that they got it before 5. I talked to the new car manager, used car manager, service manager and finance manager. No one would sign for it and they were taunting me, almost looking for a fight. Okay. I dropped the car and drove it up to the front doors, got out, locked it, backed up and looked at the crew inside laughing. I backed up another couple of steps and threw the keys onto their roof. They lost their crap. I waved and left. I was back in my office in less than 5 minutes. By this time, it was 4:45 PM. I walked in and my boss was on the phone and laughing. He called me right into his office and put the call on speaker. Our client was on the phone, as was the GM from the dealer. The GM was a lunatic about his showroom being blocked by the car and me tossing the keys on the roof. My client and boss knew these guys were jerks and wanted to know what happened. I told them no one would sign for the car and it had to be there before 5 PM. GM said right. I said, so it's before 5 PM and you're calling to complain the car is blocking your showroom. The GM said yes. At this point my boss, the client, Mike and I were laughing hysterically. The GM got madder until I could catch my breath and call his crew out for not signing it. They were going to say the car got there after 5 so they didn't have to pay for it if I didn't have proof of delivery. That's kind of hard to do now because the GM was on the phone at 4:45 complaining about his car on his lot. That dealer treated their customers the same way they treated me. Less than 2 years later, the building was a mattress store. Wow, that is a good way of getting revenge though. Just park it up in front of the door so no one can get out and chuck the keys on the roof. Absolutely epic. I think that's one more than petty revenge though, but I like it still. Our next story is from Topsy Turv. Brother is a classic one-upper, but ends up losing in his own game. So, I have 2 older brothers that I will be talking about in this story. For simplicity's sake, let's call them Brother 1 and Brother 2. Brother 1 is the one-upper. He is a classic case of green mushroom syndrome. No matter what the situation is, the context, whatever, he has to be the one on top. It makes having a normal conversation with him virtually impossible. I'll give you a few examples of the type of responses he gives to normal everyday situations / conversations. Me, wow, this burrito from Chipotle, I'm sorry if I got that wrong, I've never known how to pronounce that, is incredible. I need to eat here more often. Brother 1, ugh, holy crap dude, those sucked. There is a burrito place like a mile from here that is absolutely the best. Nothing is better than it, hands down. Or, I've been listening to this podcast recently, it's called the H3 Podcast, epic, and it's so funny. You should check it out man, I think you'd like it. Oh god no, F that, I hate H3, totally not my humour and not something I would listen to. I'd rather listen to Rhett and Link's Ear Biscuits, so much better. Totally wrong though. If you haven't listened to H3, listen to H3, it's absolutely hilarious. You get the point. This is something that's been an issue as long as I can remember. He craves this sort of interaction so he can somehow feel like he wins the conversation or something. Well, that's where Brother 2 comes in. Brother 2 is incredibly intelligent, he's quick-witted and can give a 200 IQ response in the right moment. He's typically a quiet observer and generally doesn't interact with Brother 1 often because of how these interactions usually play out. Brother 2 and I tend to talk about the one-up mentality of Brother 1 relatively often, since it's something that's such a defining quality of his personality. Brother 2 and I have nearly lost our minds having to deal with these sort of interactions. So the PettyRevenge story starts here. Brother 1 is sitting at the kitchen table, eating some fast food and drinking a Blue Monster energy drink. Brother 2 walks in, sees the energy drink and seizes the moment. Brother 2 says, "Hey man, what do you think about Rockstar energy drink? That stuff is so good." Brother 1 responds, "Ugh," and makes gagging noises. This gag noise is legit the most forced fake gag ever, and he does it a lot. "That crap is nasty, no way, nope, that stuff sucks. You know what's better? Venom energy drink, absolutely the best." "Oh really? Okay, yeah, I'll have to try it. What about Red Bull? That stuff is to die for. I always used to drink it back in college." "Oh no, that tastes like piss. No way I could drink that crap. Venom is my energy drink of choice. Nothing is better than it." Brother 2 then responds, Yeah, I'll try it eventually. It must be really good if you speak so highly of it." A brief silent moment passes. "But honestly, my favourite is Blue Monster. There is nothing better than that." Brother 1, completely oblivious to the fact that he's been guzzling this Blue Monster down, instinctively responds, "Ugh," and makes the gag noise. No, that crap is nasty." The gag noise again. "Dude, stop bugging me about energy drinks, man. Venom is my number one. End of story." At this point, Brother 2 soaked the moment in. He waited until Brother 1 obviously noticed that he was drinking that exact drink, then said, "Oh dude, then why are you drinking a Blue Monster right now? I thought you said that crap is nasty." The look on Brother 1's face was priceless. He had no words, choked down his food silently, and fled the kitchen. The revenge was so petty, and that moment has lived between Brother 2 and I ever since. Edit, literally so funny to me that this blew up the way it did. I'm glad so many of you got a kick out of this. Brother 1 is a good dude, just has his faults that make him unique. Obviously can't wait to show Brother 2 this thread. He's gonna flip his crap. Oh, everyone's got one of those in their life though. I remember one guy who was my best friend in school. I used to go to nursery with him, and all the way through to middle school, probably were best friends, and he was the classic one-upper in our relationship. He used to drive me nuts. Everything I had, he had one better, although he'd never show it. Yes, when I was younger, I used to love hip-hop music, old school hip-hop, Dre, Snoop Dogg, that sort of stuff. Not this Drake crap. And then he would always do like the opposite of me, so he'd go like a completely different route. So I think he liked UK garage music just because I liked hip hop. It's like really weird. But yeah, that's for another time. Our next story is from Boston Strong, CQB241. Bully gets a date with my sister and really gets the dump. I live with my mum and two older sisters on the second floor of a 2-family home from when I was born until I was 10. My sisters are 4 and 6 years older than me. Around the block is this boy who was my middle sister's age, who used to pick on me and beat me up. He would only do it if it wasn't with my middle sister, because she had no problem beating up boys in the neighbourhood. She wasn't a bully, would only fight if someone tried to do something to any of us. This didn't stop this boy though. She kicked his ass several times, one time even beating him up with a broken rake handle. At 7 years old, he had been picking on me all day and punched me in the face. I went home crying and told my older sister what he did. She told my middle sister and said instead of beating him up again, we should have a little fun with him. He had a crush on my older sister and she knew it. She told him she would go out with him on a date and my mother would drop them off at the movies. She told him to dress really nice and come to the front door to meet her. We usually used to use the back door because it was close to the car and where we kept our bikes. Before he showed up, my sister and I went into the kitchen and filled up a big bowl with water and red food colouring. Went back into the living room and waited at the window above the door. As soon as he walked up and knocked, I dumped the bowl down on him. He was wearing a white shirt and grey pants. Now the shirt was pink and his pants were brown. He looked up and saw all three of us laughing at him. He started cursing at us as he cried and started walking back home. Later that day, his mother got hold of ours and told him what we did to him. When she confronted us, my sisters and I explained what he did to me a few days before. After hearing that, she shrugged it off, but told us not to do that again. I'll never forget the look on his face after I dumped that bowl on him. Priceless. Now, I'm not someone to always promote revenge and stuff like that, but you know, when people bully, I think they deserve it. As I mentioned in the past, I've been bullied in the past. My last school, I was bullied from the last 2 years, pretty much ruined my GCSEs, but I'm alright now, so don't worry about it. But it pretty much ruined my GCSEs, and this guy, I'd still love to get some revenge on him. I know it's not healthy to keep that sort of thing inside you, but I'd still love to just get a little bit of revenge on him. And our final story is from Ketchup Warrior, Gym Meathead. A small act of revenge, but sweet nonetheless. I'm a member of Gold's Gym, which, for those who aren't aware, is notorious for being the gym of choice for meatheads and roid users. I was working out about 45 minutes before closing time and decided to use the chest fly cable thing. Not sure what it's called, but basically instead of sitting, you stand in a box and pull handles attached to cables, which also has handles at the top for doing pull-ups. I saw a weightlifter's belt with chains and about a 45-pound plate attached to it next to the machine, but didn't think much about it. I'm about halfway through my first set of reps when a very short, very muscular man with a shaved head and beard walks up, stands way too close and stares at me. "What's up?" I ask. "What?" he glares, acting like he has to take out his earbuds to hear me. I repeat myself. Just go, he says. I finish the set, taking my sweet time. "Okay, come on." He motions me out of the cable machine thing. I scoffed and give him a dirty look. He straps on his weightlifting belt, and before I know it, he's taken my reusable water bottle, which was hanging on a footstep for reaching the pull-up bar, and tossed it a foot to the side. Apparently, this was his machine, to use as he wants, and I'm getting in the way of his workout. F this, I'm out, I say to myself. I was about to leave anyway after the chest fly machine. I go to the bathroom and wash my hands so I can leave. When I exit the locker room, I see the meathead doing something with the dumbbells over in front of the mirror. Evidently, he was going back and forth between the dumbbells and pull-ups, reserving multiple stations in the gym for himself. He was too short to reach the pull-up bar on the main cable area when everyone else does it, so he had to use this machine. I see his weightlifting belt with chains and a 45 plate by the chest fly machine. Without thinking, I grab the belt, walk it all the way across the gym and hide it behind the 3.5 foot wall separating the areas between the mats and exercise balls with the cardio machines. I walk to the door and turn to get a look over the chest press machine. Meathead is standing there dumbfounded with his hands on his hips, looking for his weightlifting belt. We might have made eye contact while he was scanning the gym, or he may have known immediately it was me who effed with his crap. Either way, I run to my car, start it, and drive far enough away in the parking lot that he won't be able to find/follow me before selecting his music for the drive home. Then once I'm home, I get stoned, eat something delicious. F that guy. Hey, this is petty revenge, right? That's my kind of revenge. Not something sinister, just hide something of theirs so they won't find it for a good while. Just waste a few minutes of their life. I think that's a good revenge to me. Do you guys have any petty revenge stories? Put them in the comments below, I would love to see them. And as always, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to each and every one of you. As I always say, I see the same names in the comments all the time, and it really means the world to me to see you. I see you there, I really do. Thank you so much, guys. Take care now. Goodbye.